Okay, all right. Welcome everyone to this beautiful Saturday. Today is June 29th, 2024. And today we are talking about high blood pressure, aka hypertension. All right, so first of all, we'll start with the basics. What is high blood pressure? What is hypertension? By the way, for those who don't know me, my name is Sanaa Lagans, and I am a DO, Doctor of Osteopathy, and I practice family medicine. I work in the field of family practice or family medicine in San Bernardino, California, at a community health center. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, what is high blood pressure? So, high blood pressure is when the blood pressure is 120 over, I'm sorry, higher than 120 over 70. Now, that's a pretty strict definition. Um, this is by the American Cardiology Association. I forget. I got this from Up to Date, and they are quoting from the American College of Cardiology / American Heart Association. So normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. The bottom number is the diastolic. The top number is called the systolic, and I'll talk to you a little bit in a moment about what the difference is. And the top number, we want it to be about 120 or less. Anything over 130 on the top and over 80 on the bottom is considered um, elevated or high blood pressure. If the blood pressure goes 140 on the top and the bottom is 90 or higher on either top or bottom, then the blood pressure is called stage two. It's actually stage two. So stage one is 130 to 140 on the top, 80 to 90 on the bottom. Okay, hope that wasn't too confusing. What is the top number? What is the bottom number? What do these things represent? So the top number, also known as systolic, SYS, I'll put that in the chat real quick. Systolic, okay, blood pressure. That one is when the heart contracts, it causes a certain pressure in the blood vessels. Okay, that is systolic blood pressure. Okay, that's the top number. When the heart muscle relaxes, there is a relaxation period, and that's called the diastolic, and that's the bottom number. Not as much pressure going out, less pressure, so the number is lower. Okay, so, but are they both equally important? And the answer is yes. They are both equally important. Okay, they're very important to us. Okay, so now, um, how do we keep the blood pressure from going up? How do we keep it low? Before I talk about that part, let me talk about what happens when the blood pressure is too high for too long. So let's say your blood pressure is somewhere in the 140s over the bottom number somewhere in the 90s. Now it's not terribly high. I mean, we know that it can go much higher than that. But let's say it's like that for every day for years. After a while, it can cause the heart muscles to start getting too thick because it's like pushing hard against the blood pressure that's there, and it's actually causing now there to be a potential for heart failure. Okay, so the heart is working so hard, it's like it's getting tired, it's working too hard, and so now what can happen is it can start to fail, and the heart is a pump, and the pump can start to s- not be as effective, so it's weaker, and that can cause a lot of swelling in the body, sluggishness, tiredness. Sometimes it can even cause a stroke. when the blood pressure is too high, one of the other things, let's say now the blood pressure is in the higher numbers, let's say in the 160s on the top and maybe um, 80s on the bottom, 90s on the bottom. And it's like that for too long, it can cause a stroke. It could cause the blood vessels, and especially in Black people and African American, the blood pressure can go up pretty high, sometimes in the 200s, over the hundreds. And it can either cause small, tiny little strokes in the same area, which can cause people to have dementia, memory problems, memory issues, not being the same. It can cause a big stroke, like a blowout, where the blood vessel actually breaks open and blood bleeds. It causes a bleed in the brain, and that can be a devastating, we call that a hemorrhagic stroke. Those kind of strokes can cause death. And unfortunately, in people of color and Black folks, the blood pressure can, when it's high like that for too long, it could be very devastating. It can also cause kidney problems, vision problems, again, heart problems, circulation problems, um, all these bad things. So it is important to get it checked from time to time. Now, the other thing, what are the symptoms of high blood pressure? Well, some people get headaches, but not always. Some people don't get any symptoms at all. That's why it's called a silent killer. It has a nickname, the silent killer, hypertension, high blood pressure, the silent killer, because it could kill you slowly over time without you knowing it because it doesn't have major side effects. It doesn't always cause dizziness, it doesn't always cause a headache. Okay, so let us continue. Now we're going to talk briefly, and this is going to be a part one. There's going to be other parts to the hypertension because there is a lot to talk about, a lot to learn about it. Um, One of the main things that you can do, and probably the best thing that you can do, is understand the role that sodium, also known as sodium, plays in high blood pressure, especially in the African American person. Um, the blood pressure is very sensitive to salt or sodium. So if you get rid of the salt or sodium in your diet and lower it, or be aware of it and try to control it, that is one kind of easy way. Not maybe not so easy, depends on your taste buds, to control the blood pressure. So, how much is too much? So anything over 2,000 milligrams of sodium is too much per day. Okay. Uh, Some people can get away with 3,000 milligrams per day. So 2 to 3,000 milligrams per day, anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000. Optimum would be 2,000, but some can get away with more. It just depends. Sodium can be measured. Most sodium that we have to watch out for is in the processed foods, okay? So it's a negligible or very small amount of sodium in fruits and vegetables. That's why everyone is always saying, eat your fruits and vegetables, eat your fruits and vegetables. There's a reason. In the raw fruits and vegetables, particularly, there's a lot of potassium and very small amounts of sodium. So that's why we say eat your salads and your smoothies and your juicing. These are so much better for you and will really act to lower your blood pressure. I'm going to say that again. Potassium, which is not just in bananas, by the way, is found in pretty much all the fresh fruits and vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables. It's in some fruits and vegetables, it's in higher content, but it's in everything, um, as far as raw fruits and vegetables in the raw form, okay? So I have to keep reiterating that. And how can you get the raw form? Would be, it's like your salads, your juicing, smoothies. These are examples, or just eating, from the little veggie trays, cut up fruits and vegetables. Okay. Anyways, This has high potassium levels and low sodium levels, which is very ideal for controlling the blood pressure. Plus, the fiber is good for prevention of constipation and to help get rid of constipation and um, a ton of other benefits from fruits and vegetables. Okay. So, low calorie, lots of water, lots of fiber, lots of good minerals and vitamins and things that's good for our bodies. Now, let's go to the opposite of fresh fruits and vegetables, which is the what most people deal with or eat um constantly day after day is processed foods. Let's see, another word for processed foods, junk foods, high calorie foods. Okay, so let's give some examples. Sodium filled processed foods. Potato chips. You don't have to put salt on potato chips. Uh, Bacon is processed and it's full of sodium. Uh, okay, here's one. Hot dogs. Um, you never have to put salt on hot dogs. All in fact, all of the lunch meats, that whole section where you find the hot dogs of the grocery store, that whole section is lunch meats, and typically they are full of sodium. Sodium nitrates, monosodium glutamate, it's still sodium. Okay. So those are just some examples. I'm sure you could come up with a lot more examples. Start reading labels. Just look for the word sodium and it will tell you on the label nutrition section, it will tell you exactly how much milligrams of sodium. Pay attention to when they say per serving, because and then it will tell you how much is a serving. So you need to really focus on that and pay attention to that part per serving. Okay. If, for instance, 14 chips out of a bag of chips might be one serving. Okay, so if you're eating 28 chips, then you multiply that number of sodium milligrams per serving, you multiply that by two. Okay, if the serving size is 7 chips and you eat 14 chips, again, you have to multiply that s- amount. Let's say let's say 500 milligrams. I'm just throwing something out there. Let's say it's 500 milligrams per um 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, and it's one serving equals 7 chips. Well, if you're eating 14 chips, then you've got to say, okay, this is 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Do you really want to spend half of your sodium on 14 chips for the day? I mean, let's be real. Cup of noodles, I think that one, I don't know what it is lately, but at one point it was like, I want to say 1,800 milligrams of sodium for a cup of noodles, or 1,500 milligrams or 1,200, something like that. So anyway, that's about half of what you should have for a day, your allotment for the day. If you have, uh, sorry, there's a helicopter going by. If you have high blood pressure, okay, next time I'm going to do this inside. So let's let it go by, going by, going by, going by, gone. Okay, so yeah, this is what you wanna do. You really wanna pay attention to the serving size if you're going to eat the junk food, and everybody eats the junk food every once in a while. Just know how much you can actually eat, okay? Let me try and settle this. Sorry about that. So you wanna know how much is okay to eat. Alright. Now let us go on to other things that you can do. A lot of people don't realize just a little cardio exercise, cardio meaning heart exercise, working that heart out goes a long way. You can, if you do, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes of moderate heart exercise. That means walking fast, okay? Fast-paced walking, you can bring your blood pressure down. You do that 5 days a week, let's say. You could bring it down by 17 points, the top number, the bottom number on average. Amazing what you can do. Meaning sometimes you can avoid medication if you just simply make some changes in your diet and your lifestyle. Okay. One more because it's getting late and I gotta go. One more thing is stress. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? Stress levels. When you're stressing too much, when you're allowing the thoughts in your mind, the environment of your mind to get too tense, and you're not taking those deep breaths, and you're not controlling those tension thoughts, those anxiety thoughts. If you're not getting it under control, not getting it into the throne room of God and praying about those things, and instead you're letting them bounce around in your head too much, then it can make the blood pressure go up. Your body thinks you're in a state of emergency, and the blood pressure can go up. If you're not sleeping enough, another thing, or if you're not sleeping well enough. So if you think you might have sleep apnea, keep in mind that that can also cause, meaning you're not you're a heavy snorer, you're snoring heavy in the night, and your partner's saying, "Whoa, I thought you weren't going to continue breathing. You stopped breathing for a while," or some one of your family members says, "Hey, you stopped breathing." Then you might have sleep apnea. Go get that checked out. Go to the doctor, get that checked out. That can cause heart issues. It can certainly cause a car accident if you're driving and you fall asleep behind the wheel. It's easy to fall asleep. And during the daytime when you have sleep exhaustion, tiredness, hard to lose weight. These are the things that can happen with sleep apnea. And yes, high blood pressure. So get that taken care of. But stress, you definitely want to, if you need a mental health counselor, go get one go to your doctor's office, go to the local, county department of mental health, your local church, get some counseling, some therapy sessions, deal with what's going on here so that your blood pressure doesn't go up, or simply tell yourself, it's not worth my blood pressure going up. So I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm not going to get angry over that. It's just, I'm going to choose my battles, pick my battles carefully, talk to yourself and keep yourself from going from 0 to 100, as they say. Don't get yourself all out of whack or anxious or angry, unnecessarily. Um, just be careful. And then if your blood pressure is high, if you have high blood pressure, and you have high blood pressure, go ahead and get a monitor, a blood pressure monitor, and keep track of it. Check it once or twice a week. It doesn't even have to be every day, but start tracking your blood pressure and be scientific about it. Check your blood pressure after you've eaten something kind of salty and see what it does, or after you've had a large meal, see what it's doing. Check and see what it does after you've had a healthy smoothie, hour and a half, 2 hours. So be a little scientific. Check it when you're angry and see what it's doing, or when you're afraid, or your emotions are kind of out of whack, or you're stressed, see what it's doing. Check it when you're relaxed, you're kicking back and you're not stressed, see what it's doing. What you don't want to do, don't check your blood pressure too soon after you exercise. Wait about 20 minutes or so after exercise, because the exercise in and of itself can cause it to go up, but that's just temporary. Okay, my goodness. I know we talked about a lot. I'm going to save some for next time. 20 minutes. That's what I wanted. We're about 20 minutes in. We're going to go ahead and pause it and stop it here. And then we'll have more on our next live. Um, by the way, I'm hoping to do a live, believe it or not, on the 4th of July with a pharmacist that I work with. He would help us with diabetes medications. We're going to go back to diabetes, talking about that, going back to that series. Took a little break to talk about blood pressure today, but we will be picking up diabetes again, and hopefully with Dr. Barron, he's going to come on and help us with the medication part of it. And it would be in the morning, 4th of July, so that we can have fun the rest of the day. Safe fun. Okay. God bless you. Love you all to life. Have a great day.